In section 1.5, we need to be able to solve linear equations, which are equations of this form or of this form, but also quadratic equations, which we will do in another video. Now, if we look at this example here, 3x minus 2 equals 10, the key thing for linear equations is to do the same thing to both sides of the equation, until you find your variable, usually x. Now, what does it mean by both sides of the equation? Well, here we've got one side, 3x minus 2, and the other side, 10. The thing that's in the middle is the equals. So think of the equals as being the middle of your equation. The word equation just means two things that are equal to each other. So the 3x minus 2 is on the left-hand side, the 10 is on the right-hand side. Now, if you want to get rid of the negative 2 there, we've got to add 2 to both sides. So we add 2 to the left-hand side, but if we've added it to the left, we've got to add it to the right. So we get this. Simplifying that gives us 3x equals 12. And then to get x, what we've got to do is divide both sides by 3. So we end up with something that looks a little bit like this. There's a 3 missing on the bottom there. So x is equal to 4. And then when you check your answer, and you don't always need to check your answer, but sometimes it's a useful thing to do, just take that x equals 4, right, this x equals 4 that we have here, and plug it back into this equation to see if it gives you 10. Right, so does 3 times 4 minus 2 give you 10? Well, if you check it in here, it does seem to. Right, 12 minus 2 gives you 10. Now, if we look at the second equation, it's a slightly more difficult one here, because we've got fractions this time. What we've got to do if we've got fractions is try to multiply both sides by the LCD, the lowest common denominator. So the lowest common denominator in this case is the lowest common denominator of 3 and 5. That's got to be 15. And if you do that, if you multiply both sides by 15, you get an equation that looks like this. Remember, it's each term that has to be multiplied by 15. So we get something that looks like this. Notice that the 15 and the 5 will kind of cancel out slightly, so we'll just have a 3 left that has to multiply the 2x. The 15 and the 3 will cancel out a little bit, so that we just do 5 times 1. Then these things here, the 15 multiplies by the 1. The 15 and the 3 will cancel out slightly to leave us with 5 times the x. So the next step in this equation will be to just try to simplify this a little bit. So simplifying should give us an equation like this. You then take the x's over to the left-hand side, like so. So we'll get 11x equals 20, and then x equals 20 divided by 11.